بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of history of Shia Islam. I am in the holy city of Qom and just came back from the shrine and remembered our KLC family in Ziyarah. This is the last part of volume 1. It's lesson 7 on Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Volume 2 of the book will be about history of Shia in the time of occultation. The things that we will discuss in this lesson it will be about life of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. There will be a brief study of political social situation after the martyrdom of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. We will have a short discussion about minor occultation and then about beginning of major occultation, and we will have a discussion about the concept of intizar. So, trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al-Imam Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Askari Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif is the 12th Imam of Shia Muslims, and his name according to prophets, hadith and hadith of Imams is the same as the prophet. So his name is Muhammad, but there was instruction in the hadith not to mention him by name. So sometimes there is Mim, Ha, Mim, Dal in reference to Imam alayhi salam. Maybe partly due to secretive aspect of it, because enemies were trying to find Imam and kill Imam. Maybe part of it also, in my humble view, is for respect. So his kunya was like the Prophet also. Abul Qasim is like the Prophet. There are about or more than 70 titles for Imam. Among them, these are some of the famous ones: Al-Mahdi, Al-Qa'im, Al-Muntazar, Baqiyatullah, Sahib al-Zaman, Al-Khalaf al-Salih, Al-Sahib, and Al-Hujjah. Of course, Al-Mahdi is very well known, especially among all Muslims, and Al-Qa'im maybe more among the Shia, but these are some of the famous titles. According to authentic, reliable, verified hadith, Imam alayhi salam was born in the middle of Sha'ban in the year 255 or 256 in the house of his father, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, in the city of Samarra. That house is the same place that is now the shrine of Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. There are two more graves in that place. One is for the mother of Imam Zaman, Lady Narjis, and one is for Lady Hakima, who was aunt of Imam al-Askari, daughter of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. There is a basement that in hot season, Al-Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari used to, use it to, have a, better temperature in the house. They used to go to the basement. And it is said that in some books that the ghaiba started from that basement. So the last place that Imam was before starting ghaiba was in that place. So this is a short introduction about the biography of Imam alayhi salam. But let us go to the situation at the time of the birth of Imam alayhi salam, political and social situation. Abbasid rulers, they were very much monitoring and observing every behavior, every action of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. And because they were aware of the predicted or foretold or expected birth of Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, therefore they used to monitor Imam alayhi salam a lot and ask him to go to the court, to the palace, and they were even sometimes spying from the agency they were using to spy. For example, Ahmad ibn Ubaydullah ibn Khaqan was one of the governors of Abbasids. He says when the news of illness of Imam Askari spread, Khalifa sent someone to call my father. So his father then would be Ubaydullah ibn Khaqan. He is Ahmad ibn Ubaydullah ibn Khaqan. So my father went to Darul Khilafah, and with some of the people who were very close to Khalifa, they came back. Then my father asked those 5 to watch the house of Imam al-Askari, and every moment they should be there and watch and prepare reports. And then my father called some physicians and said that they should day and night be present next to the bed of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. After 2-3 days, my father was informed that Imam Askari is now weaker, so he asked the doctors, the physicians, to increase their muraqabah, their monitoring, and then he went to Qazi al-Quzat, the chief judge of the city, and asked to introduce 10 of his reliable people to send to the house of Imam Askari to be there day and night. This continued till Imam departed this world. So you see, Imam, even in his house, had no freedom, and they were watching. When Imam alayhi salam passed away, then they checked carefully every corner, every place in the house, and then it was sealed. So they wanted to make sure that either they find Imam Mahdi, or they can say to people that we checked everywhere, there was no such a person, to cause doubt in the minds of Shia. So he says even the ladies were checked in the house. Even one wife was possibly, pregnant. They kept her in a room till they realized that she was not pregnant. So this is how much they were controlling. And then they themselves divided the inheritance of Imam between mother and brothers of Imam. So much they were checking everything. If there was no expectation of birth of Imam Mahdi, why they were so much careful about everyone checking who is maybe pregnant, etc. Is there any baby to be born, etc. Now you can realize what difficult was the task of Imam Askari alayhi salam, not only for his own life, but also to introduce the Hujjah of Allah to reliable Shia, but at the same time to hide him from the system, the of Khilafah and their agents, to the extent that it couldn't leak out. For example, in the course on Imam Mahdi in Islamic scholarship, also I have mentioned this story, that Usman ibn Sa'id al-Amri, who was one of the deputies of Imam Mahdi, but he was also a very reliable person, known in the time of previous Imams also. So Imam Askari alayhi salam showed him along 40 Shia Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, and said, he is your Imam after me and my successor among you. Obey him and don't differ in your religion, otherwise you will be destroyed and you will not see him in future. So Imam had to introduce Imam Mahdi to some people who were reliable, so that they would not have doubt, but on the other hand to hide him from system. There is a section for further study. One of the extraordinary things about Imam Mahdi's life is that pregnancy of his mother was hidden, and even people inside family of Imam were not expecting Lady Narjis to be delivering. For example, Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh Saduq, with reliable sanad, chain of narration, both of them have mentioned that Lady Hakima, the one that I said is buried in the same place that Imam Hadi and Askari are there, the daughter of Imam Jawad, this is very pious, very reliable lady. So this lady says that Imam Askari in the middle of Sha'ban informed me that there is going to be birth of Hujjah of Allah in this night. She said, who is his mother? And Imam Askari said, Lady Narjis. Lady Hakima said, she is not pregnant. There is no sign of pregnancy. And Imam said, but this is going to happen. So then she had the signs of pregnancy and pain of pregnancy, delivery, a little before Salatul Fajr. And then Imam Mahdi was born. So this shows that his life in the womb of mother was concealed from people, even from the family. Then there is a discussion here about birth of Imam alayhi salam according to Sunni Muslims. So according to Shia, he is the son of Imam al-Askari. He was born in the middle of Sha'ban, the year 255 or 256. According to Sunni Muslims, So some of them believe that he was born and he was son of Imam al-Askari. For example, here there's mention of Ibn Arabi, Muhyiddin Arabi, and also Muhammad ibn Talh al-Shafi'i. Although they are Sunni, it's interesting, they believe that Imam Mahdi was born and he was son of Imam Askari. But some of them may not accept that Imam Mahdi is the son of Imam Askari. They may say that, Imam Askari had a son, and Shia believe that he was Al-Mahdi. But some of them may not believe, and may believe Mahdi is another figure, or is going to be born in future. Although there were cases in the past that they said these are Mahdi. Some people, some Sunni Muslims believe in some people as Al-Mahdi. But some may say he's not yet born. But what is interesting is that there are Sunnis who say Imam Mahdi had a son, even if they don't believe he's Imam Mahdi, but there's a son who was born, and the Shia believe in his Imam Mahdi. Why this is important? Because some people nowadays, say that this idea was not there before, this idea came later. But even Sunnis have reported this, that the Shia believe in him. And some of them even say he is the same promised Al-Mahdi. Then there is a discussion about cultural situation. So, you remember that several times we talked about some problems that happened after martyrdom of some imams. Some people, for some reasons, were not following the next imam. So now you can imagine when Imam Askari is already under control, and then he has also to protect Imam Mahdi by hiding him. So there could be problem, and some people could be not aware of who is the next Imam. Although Hujjah will be completed for those who are seeking the truth, but still maybe some people were denied information by others. So then Imam al-Hujjah sometimes needs other people also to pass on the information, but they may not pass on the information. And anyway, this era is called era of Hayra in some of old texts, because some people were not very sure. Shaykh Saduq Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, who was in the 4th century, in the middle of the 4th century, he compiled the book Kamaluddin wa Tamamun Ni'mah in order to remove any confusion, any ambiguity for anyone who is seeking the truth about this. Nu'mani, also in the 4th century, compiled Kitabul Ghaiba. Sheikh Mufid had books about Ghaiba. Sheikh Tusi in 447 wrote Kitabul Ghaiba. And then some other scholars. So they try to bring all the evidence, compile all the hadith, so that no one would be without proof and without hujjah. Then there is a discussion again for further study about title of Al-Mahdi. Al-Mahdi, as you know, in Arabic is Ismul Maf'ul, means the guided. Al-Mahdi means the guided, meaning the one who is guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as you know, in the Quran, guidance has a special meaning, and the one that provides guidance should be himself directly guided by Allah. Otherwise, he is not considered as al-hadi. أَفَمَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يُتَّبَعَ أَمَّنْ لَا يَهْدِي إِلَّا أَنْ يُهْدَى. So either someone is guiding toward the truth, or he himself needs guidance. So if someone needs guidance and then can guide to the truth, from Quranic perspective, he is not al-hadi. For example, our ulama are not al-hadi. And when Quran says, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنذِرْ وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ, in this sense, only people who receive knowledge and guidance directly from God are Hadi. Okay? Because they are Mahdi by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, some ulama are inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but still they have to learn. Still they need to see teachers, they need to study. But Al-Hadi in Quranic sense is the one that doesn't need to be guided. In any case, Al-Hadi has to be Al-Mahdi, has to be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is one of the titles of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif in the hadith from the Prophet and Imams. But we should know that this is also used in other cases. For example, it is used also for maybe other Imams. For example, for Imam Hussein alayhi salam also Al-Mahdi is used, but not in the sense of the 12th Imam, not in the sense of the promised Savior. No, but because Imams are Mahdi. For example, Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khuza'i, so he, during the uprising of Tawwabin, he said that Imam Mahdi is Ash-Shahid, is the martyr, Ibn al-Shahid, son of martyr, and Al-Mahdi Ibn al-Mahdi. He is guided, the son of the one who was guided by Allah directly. So the Shia had this idea that Imams should be Al-Mahdi. Okay, it's a general understanding. But also, for example, you find Mukhtar al-Thaqafi used to refer to Muhammad ibn Hanafiya also as Al-Mahdi. And also sometimes even people used it for some Khulafa, this title of Al-Mahdi. So it's a very respected, prestigious title. It can be used properly for any person who directly is guided by Allah, but sometimes it is used also for other people by different people, Shia or non-Shia. What is interesting is that the fact that you see some people were called to be the promised Mahdi, like Muhammad ibn Hanafiya by some people, or Nafs al-Zakiyya, because of their pious, character, for some reason, some people thought they are Al-Mahdi, the promised one. This shows that in the mind of people, this idea was very established. Some were not careful in application, but they knew that there will be a very special character who would save humanity. So, according to the sources that they say Muhammad ibn Hanafiya was considered as Al-Mahdi, then it means that from years about 80 to 90 after Hijrah, from 1st century, this idea of Al-Mahdi was so much in the minds of people that some people try to apply. Some people also applied it to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Nafs al-Zakiyya. Some applied it to Ismail, the son of Imam Sadiq. And some people even applied to Imam Sadiq, to Imam Kazim. So there are different cases in the history. Now we go back to the main text. This was for further study. When Imam Askari alayhi salam became martyr in 260 after Hijrah, then minor occultation or al-ghaybat al-sughra started from 260 to 329. For 69 years we have ghaybat al-sughra. In minor occultation, there is a person who is appointed by Imam alayhi salam, Imam Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah sharif, who would act as a connection, a link between Imam and people. So we have 4 deputies. These are Nawwab Arba'eh, the 4 deputies who were specifically appointed by Imam alayhi salam. They were receiving questions, passing on to Imam, giving back the answers, and they're organizing the community on behalf of Imam. But then in 329, when the 4th was dying, Imam asked him not to introduce anyone. And then we have the occultation, which is called al-ghaybat al-kubra, major occultation, which is now time that even finding who would be deputy of Imam is left to the Shia. So first, Imam himself was there. Then Imam was appointing people. When people had enough training for 69 years for people, then now Shia have to find themselves who are generally appointed, not specifically, not by name. Those who are pious, reliable, God-fearing, wise Shia jurists. أما الحوادث والواقعات فارجعوا فيها إلى رواة أحاديثنا فإنهم حجتي عليكم وأنا حجة الله. Okay, now let us have a little discussion about these 4 deputies in the time of Al-Ghaybat al-Sughra. The first one, who was also very close to Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, he was wakil for Imams, is Usman ibn Sa'id al-Amri as-Samman. Remember we talked about this people. Samman is the one who sells oil, cooking oil. Okay, because this was his job, and also a way to connect to Imam, and was sometimes putting questions in the oil and giving to the house of Imam. So when he was very young, he was helping in the house of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, but then he became very close. But then he was close to Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, and he was also the one who was responsible for burial of Imam al-Askari. Apart from Salatul Mayyit was offered by Imam al-Hujjah Jallallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. But he was responsible for arranging washing and takfeen and burial of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. After Imam al-Askari passed away, he went to Baghdad, which was the capital of Abbasids, and stayed in the area of Karkh, which was an area that many Shia were there, and made it the headquarters or the main place for organizing the Shia. He was not in this life, in this world for a long time. So after him, the second person was Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Uthman ibn Sayyid, son of the first one. And Imam Mahdi offered condolences to him after his father passed away and delegated the task to him. Some of the ghulat, those who were exaggerating, those who were, associating some kind of, diet to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were against the second Na'ib of Imam alayhi salam, but most of Shia followed him and listened to him, and they never questioned his justice. He had the longest period of serving as Na'ib of Imam alayhi salam, about almost 50 years. He was organizing the network of wukala and agents. He was answering questions, fiqh questions, kalami questions, and other issues. He was asking the needed Imam alayhi salam and giving back. Sheikh Tusi says he himself had some compilations about fiqh that next Nawab gave to Shia to use. The third Na'ib is Abul Qasim Hussein ibn Ruh al-Nawbakhti, from family of Nawbakht, and he was very close to Muhammad ibn Uthman in Baghdad. According to Sheikh Tusi, Muhammad ibn Uthman, through the instruction of Imam al-Mahdi, was referring some of the financial affairs of Shia to Hussein ibn Ruh, so that people get used to him and the people come to know him. Many members of Nawbakht family got high positions in the Abbasid Caliphate, in their system of management, and therefore they helped the Shia a lot. There was another Shia family, Al Furat or Bani Furat, who also had some positions in Abbasid system, and Hussein ibn Ruh had good relation with both. So it was helpful, but then situation was not stable. So therefore, in some period, Al Furat then became, this kind of regarded by Abbasids. When Hamid ibn Abbas became minister of Abbasids, he was an enemy of the Shia, and he dismissed Bani Furat from power, and therefore the situation of Hussein ibn Ruh went down. Sheikh Tusi says that after this, for 5 years, Hussein ibn Ruh was put in prison from 312 to 317. It's amazing that they were not running away from Khulafa or from the system. They were going to Baghdad, right next to the Khalifa, and trying to help the Shia and trying to establish and even make good relation with the system. Many people had positions. Even I will say that how Hussein ibn Ruh later again after prison was promoted. So from 312 to 317, for 5 years he was in prison. And then unfortunately Shalmaghani, Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Ali al-Shalmaghani, who was one of ulama of Shia in Baghdad, and he was close to Hussein ibn Ruh, and even Hussein ibn Ruh has appointed him as his successor or deputy, but unfortunately he changed. Even Hussein ibn Ruh and Shalmaghani together wrote a book called At-Taklif, about the obligation. But Shalmaghani later said, I am independent, deputy of Imam al-Hujjah, and even later he claimed to be a prophet. Then Hussein ibn Ruh, who was in prison when he saw this deviation in Shalmaghani, sent message to the Shia outside that they shouldn't have contact with Shalmaghani, they should distance from Shalmaghani, and a tawqi also was issued from Imam Mahdi against Shalmaghani. This tawqi was made known was made public in 317. Because Shalmaghani had made to claim that he was a prophet, big issues, even he got into trouble with the system. First he was not knowing, Shia, but then the system cannot, take someone who is claiming to be a prophet. Anyway, in 322 or 323, he was executed by the Khalifa. Hussein ibn Ruh, after 5 years, was freed from prison, and because of influence of Nobakti family, then again the system was respecting him, and towards the end of his life, Khalifa Ar-Radi Billah had very high regard for Hussein ibn Ruh. Imagine, how they were able to maneuver. That's Khalifa, Abbasi Khalifa has very high respect for him. He died in the months of Sha'ban 326. The fourth deputy and the last one is Abu Hassan Ali ibn Muhammad as-Samuri. He was appointed by Imam Mahdi after Hussein ibn Ruh, and he was for 3 years deputy, 326 to 329. He was from Basra, one of the villages outside Basra. His family had lots of lands, and they had allocated half of their income to Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala. So from that time, this idea was there to do some endowments for Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala. Imam Mahdi also every year had correspondence with them. Okay, so inshallah we will continue this discussion inshallah next week. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the coming of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and enable us to inshallah please him with our actions and our plans and our behavior and our character inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.